What's up, y'all? Yeah. I mentioned revocation the other day. So I brought the shirt. I should play that. That old Age of Iniquity or something like that? Nah, that wouldn't be it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Desecration. Yeah, man. Pathway to Deviance. That's cool. I mean, this is badass. I mean, I don't even know what to say on top of this. This is just... that fucking riff, dude. Oh, that bounces like that, dude. Such a pit-worthy part right there. Yeah. I don't get tired of this. Kind of reminds me of what, I don't know, what Fetus was going for, Dying Fetus was going for. But these guys, like, take it to this new thing. Looking for my notes. Dude. So the wife went out deep into the country, the Appalachian country, seriously, brought this back. I don't know anything about this, but this is like her family. This is how her family rolls. They just roll around to deeper and deeper and more obscure areas. They come back with quail eggs. What the fuck? From a quail farm. They farm quail. I don't know where. Probably nearby. And they get the eggs. So they probably have them on the property. You can eat quail. I've had quail. Quail's, it's like chicken, but it's just a little bird. And it's just one big chunk of meat sometimes. And it's just like chicken. Well, little bite-sized chunks. So we have their eggs in probably vinegar. I didn't look at the ingredients. But I assume that's vinegar because that's typically what they put these things in. My God, I need a magnifying glass to read this. These reading glasses won't cover it. Yeah. That's probably why I didn't read it. Am I going to eat it? I don't usually eat pickled things out of a jar, no. Almost, there's like, besides a literal pickle, which I only kind of do that. I don't like pickles. So I just don't like jarred things. And I get really weird when I see that. I don't know, I guess I studied chemistry too much. Did I see jars of things? Yeah. Jars of things now like make me nervous. But I trust like preserves and jellies. Anyways, talking about junk and stuff like that, but no food and stuff like that. Yeah. I heard of Desecration a long time ago. So it's one of those ones, as soon as you saw the name, you're like, oh, I remember that album. I gotta grab that one. I missed that the last time it came through. That was a Desecration album for me. I never saw them live or anything. I don't even know if they toured the States or anywhere I was near, so. So, I hang around on X, that app. Got a link. Y'all can go over there and chat with us. There's a few of us over there. Mostly metal, but some other stuff. Anyways, so I was over there and I follow organizations within different governments and sometimes our own government, keeping an eye on them and seeing what they're up to. They're always doing some weird shit. Your local cops will always have stuff like, we caught bad guys, you know. And it's always like drug cartel or thousands of dollars seized in this huge operation. You know, we see those big operations from smaller things. We got our FBI, the FBI of the United States, on their own Twitter account. They're talking about the Pagans Motorcycle Club and how they busted 3 of them. 3. Not 30, not 300. 3 for armed assaults against rivals. So as it boils down, I read the article with the release and I read some articles about it to see what the facts were. And according to the FBI themselves, their own admission, they got 3 guys who beat up another guy. Yeah, it's an assault charge. And yeah, y'all kind of ganged up on that dude. But the guy was not hurt other than probably some bruising and his pride. He was not put in the hospital or anything. And they got these 3 pagan motorcycle clubs on those charges, and they said they pled guilty. So, the worst thing is those guys, since they're in a club, just a club, since they're in a club, they're going to be charged extra hard for that, that's going to be reflected upon their sentence. So as I'm looking at states and counties and how they're busting dealers and like fentanyl dealers and shit like that, cartels and all that stuff, they're putting in the good fight, literally putting in the good fight. And then you got our own FBI over here. We got these 3 dudes on beating each other up. So essentially, as that club thing kind of goes out, this dude took a beating, but it was kind of like, take your licks. They were not going to kill the guy. They had no intention of killing the guy. They did not set out to kill a guy. They were like, they saw him and they were like, hey, talk crap. Beat that guy up, boom, 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 and send him on his way. It exists. That thing happens in the non-club world. It happens on the street all the time. You know, there's extreme people out there with extreme relationships. And other than, you know, sort of consensual combat, you have to look at it as sort of consensual combat. And the FBI decided to stick their nose in that. Like, shouldn't y'all be doing bigger shit than messing with these 3 guys? Because that's essentially what you just did. They probably heard about this from a county guy, a county sheriff, or some dude in the state. And the FBI was like, oh, let's make an example out of these dudes. Boom! It's such a weird flex given the current events of the day. It's a weird flex. And it's kind of a limp-wristed one, too. Now, I understand these 3 guys getting hooked up for these charges probably feel differently about that. Since they'll get probably a gang enhancement thrown on it. Because sure, yeah, your punishment should definitely reflect who your friends are. That's what happens. It's like, people get away with crime sometimes because they're found guilty or they plead guilty, but the punishment is given out in such a way it doesn't even affect them. But then you got these guys over here, the pagans and club members of all kinds. It's just like, oh, we caught you on something simple, maximize it. You know. I saw a video of a Bandito MC member. It was on YouTube. There was a cop making this stop, and he was talking to the guy in the car. I think it was in the car, but this Bandito's Motorcycle Club guy just was watching the thing. It happened in front of him. He didn't get involved in the situation. It's just he was standing there by his bike. That started happening. And then the cop is intimidated by the biker's presence. And he's like, I don't care. I'm not bothering you. I'm standing here. You're way over there. And you know, really in all the footage, I guess the Bandito was the guy with the camera. You can see the guy was way over there. It's like, just imagine minding your own business and a half a block away, the cop decides to pull somebody over. Something happens, and then something happens between the occupant of the car and the cop. And he was over there. Cop just like, hey, you, what are you doing? I'm going to go fuck with you now. And he's like, dude, what are you doing? And he was like, doing nothing. And the cop went to arrest him, I guess, or did arrest him or something. But the charges were dropped on that very quickly because I think the public, where that happened, the people were already upset with that sheriff or that deputy or whoever the hell it was. So, and then that video went out, and oh boy, that was it. The lawyer got it, put it online, gave it to the media, the right media. So thank God that guy's charges were dropped. Every time they say they got one of these guys, these headlines, we got one of these guys, go read the article. You know, sometimes it's not the same as that headline. Desecration almost sounded like blues over here. What the fuck? That's why I like them. I guess they have that blues kind of vibe going on. So I got books that I'm going to illustrate my point. These two books. Yeah, it's about bikers. But really it's about the ATF and the FBI in their own words. In their own words, the FBI were the ones behind all these books. Agents wrote these. ATF agents wrote these. And it's just Riding with Evil was probably the most egregious, but with Ken Croak over here. But then Falco was just kind of a different animal, considering who he was in the operation. But yeah, in his own words, you can see that the ATF might have got a little heavy-handed with these guys. Yeah, the ATF just got heavy-handed with everyone they dealt with here. Just knowing, because in their investigation, he realizes there's only one or two bad seeds. And if they were just pulled out and said, hey, stop doing that, you know, in this shit, this is your warning, these dudes probably would have rightened up and been like, yeah, you're right. Because there was only like one or two bad seeds, and it was just, that happens anywhere you go. You have a place where there's more than 500 people, you're gonna get some odd guys in there, and some odd ideas, and that's any group, especially the metal scene. You got 500 people in that concert. You know there's two guys in here that are probably the most extreme of the bunch, in whatever wonderful way you want to use them. So it's just like singling those guys out, but no, they didn't. It's like having a concert with 500 people, there's two interesting people in there, and the feds come in and bust all of you. And now say anybody with these shirts, you're now just as bad as this bad guy I found. Illustrated literally 3 times, because the guy had 3 operations he was involved in. In their own words. Then you got this lovely human being here, this wonderful piece of crap, Ken motherfucking Croak. Of all the crime that's documented in this book, Ken was instrumental in arranging that trade-off. To the point you could say 95% of the crime was committed. 95% of the crime, of all the crimes done, were committed by Ken Croak, the ATF agent. He wrote a book about doing it in his own words. Did you ever hear the theory that if you took an Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark movie, or Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom, and if Indiana Jones had never been involved in the movie and the plot had occurred without him, evil would have been beat. Evil would have not succeeded. Good would have triumphed. The trope of the movie. Hero, they encounter evil, they overcome it. But it wasn't Indiana overcoming it. He was just swept up in it as it occurred naturally along its process. It went up, it went down. It was a wave of humanity existing and coexisting. And Indiana Jones witnesses it. That's all he does. He kind of intervenes with it to get a better outcome. And that's the movie. Ken Croak and Charles Falco to an extent. they weave this narrative of like, if he hadn't shown up, he was like, let me get this from you, and this from you, and this from you, and let me do this for you, and this for you, and this for you. And then they all agree to it. He's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've now busted you on all these crimes. It's like entrapment. It is like an entrapment, but with so much more added depth of the nature of those relationships to engage trust with one another. You know, it's kind of what's happening. And it's in their own words. So when I just read this article, you know, that this from the FBI, this submission they put out, it's only a couple days old, maybe a week old now that you're seeing it here. Because I want to have time to read it and kind of go through this shit, knowing I am versed on law enforcement's ability to group us in, or group anyone into a lump, find one or two bad seeds, and now use the entire group against society, you know, by demonizing. And then Hollywood comes in and makes a profit off of them. And that's after the publishers have gotten a bite of it. The publisher's going to get a bite of it, and then Hollywood's going to go get a bite of it. The film industry's going to get a bite of it. And why? I mean, there's no such thing as bad press, because it just makes MCs more interesting, just like it makes death metal more intimidating and scary. And same with clubs; they can be intimidating and scary. But you know, if you're listening to me, I'm here to tell you, like, while there's truth to the accusations and the comments about a certain group, well, some of those accusations are rooted in truth, but it's sometimes used to demonize a whole group. Now, is there overlap? Man, there's those weird people. There's overlap everywhere, even in your church groups, even in your jobs, especially your corporate jobs. So it's just people. It doesn't matter your group. We're all just people. Whether you were born in the Roman times or ancient Babylon or today, people still conduct themselves the same way now as they did then. You have to go out and figure out how you're going to keep a roof over your head and eat. Even though you may have a roof over your head, it's not usually how to keep it or to provide for yourself, your food. You know, and you encounter people throughout your day. There's things you like about things you find out in your world. That becomes your culture. And the rest is just details. Just except for like sometimes you get these bad scenes that do bad things, but they're everywhere. You know, it's about 500, I think. I think about every 500 people you get a really extreme dude. So, anyways, that was desecration. Or there it went. Oh, there it is. And just some current events and history blended in with sociology, kind of given to you in a variable form, like an algebra equation. That's what I do. Badass album. Alright, we're going to dip out. I'm Cattle Pride, your Appalachian Warlord. See you next time.